We are here. Absolutely, man. I cannot wait until a week from Friday where we get this bad puppy going here, man. Rent's due. Rent is due. And by the way, this is the bad guy. How you doing? The bad guy. I'm known as the bad guy of Philly. I know. Pull a chair up. Now listen, I want to make this very clear. Oh, and by the way, we always have to do this. Big sales. Understand this. This show is not for the faint of heart. And look at Abe. I like Baldy. Yeah, Baldinger said it. Jordan Davis hasn't shown him anything in 2 years. That's why I like Brian Baldinger too. How you doing, man? This is a show for the non-faint of heart. And if you're used to snowflake broadcasting, this ain't for you. I'm giving you a PSA, a public service announcement right now. A PSA. This ain't for the faint of heart. We should run a disclaimer on this program. If you start to get your feelings hurt, you should see psychiatric help. There you go. Jason, we need to put that on a shirt too. How you doing? You see, whereas some shows have PMS, this is a PSA. Okay? Public service announcement. If you get your panties in a bind, like some of you dudes do, like Prince and some of these guys, then I don't know. Prince can kind of take it at times, but not always. Okay? So, Eagles and Packers next Friday, man. 24 hours after the 53-man roster, 70-man roster, they call it, has been set. We got thoughts on it. I say this tight end, wideout, O-line, probably going to be an area that they're going to manipulate. I would say the roster a little bit more. They need another tight end. They need more depth in the O-line. I think they're going to get another wide receiver. And you got 28 guys on defense. By the way, why do you think you guys have 28 guys of the 53 men on defense? You know why? You got to balance your salary cap somehow. So that's why you have stiffs on the defensive side. People you're not paying. Why do you think you do that? You're a top-heavy football team. Now people are picking that up because they watch the National Football Show, and I'm telling you that for about 6-7 months. You're top-heavy. You got all the money guys on one side, and you got nobodies on the other side, and that's why you got a 9-8 roster at best. At best. Oh, and by the way, real quick, I got a bet going on right now on my Twitter page of when Fat Dom has to grab Sirianni by the scruff and corral him in. Week 4, week 8, or week 12? When does Fat Dom have to grab him by the throat and say, settle down, youngster? Settle down, youngster. How many games? How many games before Fat Dom has to grab him? Week 2. Dave says week 2. He has to grab. He grabs it. Week 1. Okay, when we're up by 18. Oh, Eduardo goes, this guy's going to get so far ahead of himself when you're up 18 that he's going to start acting like an asshole on the sidelines in Brazil. Hey, you might not want to get a little nutty down there. Remember what happened for the Rio Games? You know, a swimmer got crazy at a gas station, and they held him in one of the Brazilian jails. Hey, Nick, you might want to behave yourself. Better bring Fat Dom with you, man, because you may need him to get your ass out of jail. How about he grabs Sirianni by the neck? Oh, man, hey, that would be worth the price of admission. Watching Fat Dom grab Sirianni by the throat. I can't. Holy cow. Seals, you act like we are the Carolina Panthers. Well, you're not far removed on defense from them. Dude, where do you think you're great on defense? Where are you great? Where are you good on defense? Where? No Mark Holmes today. Philly 500, though, at 4:30, and the head football coach of the Miami Hurricanes will be with us at 3:30. He'll join us. Canes and Gators this Saturday. Hold on. I asked you a question, senor, not about your coach. Where are you good in personnel on defense? Where? Where are you good? Where are you good? Greatest coach in the history of the Philadelphia Eagles is one of the coaches on the hot seat. How can that be? How can that be? Go Gators. Let's look at this guy. You could be easily the first guy I block ever. Jalen Carter? Maybe. Maybe. Had a good start to the year, finished poorly. Interior? Probably so. Other than that, nowhere else. Zero. Goose egg. Goose egg. Mario Cristobal, as I said, will join us. Okay, Jack, where are you good on defense? DT, where else? Where else are you decent? Where else are you decent? Once again, guy, listen to your D coordinator. Coaches don't make great defenses. Players do. The words of Vic Fangio. The words of Vic Fangio. Okay? Oh, by the way, I do have a couple. We're going to hit on some issues here. My takeaway, I got a chance to watch that interview with Nick Sirianni and with Howie Roseman in detail, so I'm going to comment on that. And I got two more topics here. But before we get going, and please hit the like button, guys. Your DBs and corners are not good. Richard, where are you? You were 31st. And now you added new guys who've never played in the league, and you're 31st. You didn't add anybody of significance at your cornerback position, and you added a guy who missed 14 games last year. How you doing? How you doing? Oh, now Sweat's good, right, Kyle? I thought he was overrated. Wayne says Slay isn't good. He's kind of good. Guys, I really don't have to debate the obvious. Okay? I don't. Milton Williams. I like the player too. Guy hasn't never started a down, but he's going to go get him, buddy. All right. Let me ask you something here. You know what's going around the national shows right now? One question for you. So do you think that all of the issues of the head coach and the quarterback have been resolved? August 28th. Less than 10 days away from the opener. Do you really believe that I'm going to sit here and think all that's been resolved? Has it been resolved between the coach, the quarterback, and the team? Why are you giving that the benefit? Why are you doing that? That it's been resolved? Was that a one of? So you think it's been resolved? Sills, defense will not get off the field this year. Amen, Sam. There's a smart man. Not a chance. It'll be resolved. How about this, Tony? For it to be resolved, don't you think they've got to get out to a great start for it to go away? How imperative, Tony, and this is where I'm going with it, not to revisit last year. Isn't it an imperative thing that the Eagles start strong early to settle the locker room? Do you agree? Well, was the head coach the problem? or the scapegoat of Howie's interference? I think a little of both, Brian. Tony, right? Wayne, they can't get out to a slow start. Okay? They just cannot. Get this. Yes, it has been to the playoffs 3 years in a row. And yet his questioning of being a head coach in this league is still in question. How about this one here? Richard, there's more of a question mark on Nick Sirianni going into this year than Jalen Hurts. Seals, we don't know if it's resolved. Until it's tested, wins are not the test. That's right. Figuring out how to be a problem solver. Absolutely. Richard, I don't think you have to get out to a 10-1 start for the team. 6-3 will probably put it at ease too. Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think you have to get out to a 10-1 start to settle the locker room down. Personally, I think that's a question mark going into this year. Has last year's problems with the head coach and the roster been resolved? We like Bob says, we won't know. A great start implies the offense plays well, which means Moore is calling the game well, gets a potential head coaching job in the offseason, then the problem comes back again. You know what, though, Eagle Podcast? Let's get through them starting off good. And we'll worry about Kellen Moore in December and January. Let's concern ourselves with September. That's the task at hand here. What happens after the season? You're not wrong. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But what happens after the season? I'm not concerned with that right now. I'm concerned more with September. Sills, is it possible Howie is banking on the offense to outscore everyone and believes the majority of the NFC is bad, and with Vic defenses, it can't be worse? Yeah, I think that's how they're thinking. Okay, I think that's how they're thinking. I totally do. You know how that's why you know they're thinking that way? Look at how the roster's been constructed. By the way, we're going to look at how the roster's been constructed. Everything I said about the roster being constructed, it's in front of you. All the things that I said about your defense and about half a roster, you don't have a great – you think somehow you have a really good 53. You have a massive amount of questions on your 53. And on one side of the ball, you have no question marks, really, on offense. None. Right guard, maybe? Health of Barkley. How the offense works with Moore and Hurts. Sure, okay. Are you going to get production out of 3? Kind of, but not really going to be a killer. Are you going to get good linebacker play? Are you going to get fair backer play? Are you going to get pressure? How are your corners going to play? Last year, they were horrible. And you added younger players that have never played. Okay. How in the world do you come up with you're improved? Because you drafted people? Your guy doesn't even start in the position he was drafted in. What do we – and the second guy, my opinion, Cooper DeJean is overkill. How he addressed it. How he drafted 2 corners in a row, and it was overkill because of his failures of a year ago. Instead of getting a linebacker like Wilson or Edgerrin Cooper, they went corner. Okay, you know what? I think Cooper DeJean's going to be a good ball player. I do. We don't know. Hey, I'm not talking shit on any of these guys, these rookie guys. My only problem with Quinyon Mitchell is you drafted him to be a top-flight corner in the NFL, and what, you were 31st in the league last year? You're telling me he couldn't beat anybody out on the numbers with the worst defense and pass coverage last year, and he couldn't beat anybody out, and he was the 22nd player taken? I might have a problem with that. I might have a problem with that. Is he smart? Is he picking up the defense? Why isn't he starting over Isaiah Rodgers? Teron Arnold's starting in Detroit. You can say whatever you want about Detroit. They made it to the NFC title game. And he's starting out a pretty decent defense up there. Okay, I mean, like, your guy doesn't have anything over him, and he's starting. What's the deal? Why is he not starting? Why are you putting a guy that you're going, well, he really wasn't that productive at corner in Indianapolis, was he, Isaiah Rodgers? How about this? Dan Sileo, do you agree that we have to wait and see how good the defense is? Here, to your point, little strawberry. Vic Fangio said you have to wait till week 12. I'll let you know then. I don't have to wait till week 12 in Kansas City. I already know they're good. That's my point the whole freaking time. Little strawberry, I'm not saying you're going to, well, I think you are going to struggle mightily in the early stages. That's why I picked to go 9-8. Dude, if you had as much talent on defense as you do offense, you're 17-0. How about this? If you were marginally better on defense, you're a 17-0 team potentially. Again, here, what's the point? Don't get ahead of yourself, kid. Don't get ahead of yourself. And by the way, I'll show you how your contracts have shown that you're top heavy. Let's do that. Before I get into my takeaways with Nick and with Howie, you think this Eagle team is too top heavy? And what I mean by that is all your assets are on one side of the ball. Look at Chiefs, 13 wins. With an unknown defense. He says 13 wins. 15 wins with an unknown defense. This looks like the carbon copy of last year when all you guys were putting those 10-1 numbers up. And I kept telling you, you're not 10-1. Same with Spike. Same thing as he did a year ago. And then as the thing came crashing down, I was telling you who you were. I was telling you who you were from New England on. New England on, I was telling you, you're not that good. You're not that good. Now look at this. Podcast goes like this. Yeah, for sure, top heavy, but I think it's good enough to win 10, 11 games. Well, how about this Eagle podcast? 10, 11 games? That's really only one more win than I'm saying. The difference between 10-8 or 9-8, I should say, and 10-7 is probably 15 plays in a game. We're not talking about anything crazy here. By the way, and I've upped it from 7 to 9. Here, get this. That's exactly what Roseman said it yesterday. We have to balance the personnel with the contracts. His rookie contracts are on defense now, and finesse Hurts' contract to put money elsewhere right now. Not money elsewhere, money on the offense. That's exactly being called top heavy. You don't have a balanced roster. The experience is definite. Everything I told you, the general manager even said, and we're going to go into because I wrote down what he said. You don't have a balanced roster. How do you have a balanced roster? The GM said it. He said it yesterday. I heard it. Okay? At the end of the day, you still don't know. Okay? You're going into the game with absolute. Let's see here. You having coach on. Xander, I'm going to send you a text message for Cameron here. So I'm going to send you this here. This is for Cameron. This is the PR guy for the Miami Hurricanes. I apologize for doing this on the fly. This is for Cameron. This is for Coach. At 3:30 p.m. Let me get there on the air now. Yes. Yes. You'll get it in a second. You will get it in a second. So here we go. Cool. Mario Cristobal, by the way, head football coach of the Canes, will be with us at 3:30 Eastern time as they get ready for the Gators. So we'll do that again. We're looking forward to having him on. We always get him on. That's going to be a big game this weekend. One of the real big college football games this weekend. Hey, Sills, are you going to say Dallas is better than? Absolutely not. Sean, I think the Dallas Cowboys win 5 ball games this year. Okay? Sills, can you stop with the what misinformation? What are you talking about? What misinformation? What misinformation? What are you talking about? 5573. What misinformation are you talking about? What are you saying? I'm curious. Sills, if we're 2-2 going into the bye and we come out of win week 6, we'll know the media and the fans will be going crazy. Can Nick and the staff settle things down? We shall see. If they're 2-2 heading into the bye week, there's going to be a lot of screaming. He is a starting corner in CB at 5573. He's not starting against the Packers at cornerback. And stop saying slot corner and corner are the same. They're not. Your defensive coordinator even said it. Slot corner and playing on the numbers is 2 different skill sets. Out of Vic Fangio's own mouth, he said it. What are you making? You talk about misinformation? 5573 just gave you misinformation. The defensive coordinator told you. Okay? He told you that they're 2 different skill sets. I mean, completely 2 different mindsets and skill sets too, by the way. So, yeah. Okay? Yes. Okay? It's funny, but Sills knows what sells Cowboys. Floor is 9. Never. Cowboys won't win 9 games. In what aspect? They're not winning 9 games. Absolutely not. Let's get into a little bit of what Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni said. Nick didn't really say shit. Okay? Nick didn't really say shit at all. So let's get into Howie. Let me ask you this, though. So once again, I do want to ask you one last thing here before we move on here. By the way, please hit the like button. Guys have been great. You think this 53-man roster is a 12 to what does Anders say? 15 wins? So between 12 and 15 wins, this Eagle team is, right? Is that what you're saying? Is that right? Jack Stoll re-signed with the Eagles. That's a good pickup. Knows the system. If that's true, that's a good thing. So Wayne says 12 and 5. That's a 12-win roster. That's a 12-win roster. 12 is fair. I say 9 to 10 wins. Cowboys 53 is weak. I agree. Hit the like button. If Sills even dumber than Mark Holmes. Dude, where are you good on defense? Deron Bland's out now, 6 to 8 weeks? You signed Dalvin Cook in desperation? Your center position, the guy you drafted, BB, I don't know. Tyler Guyton, well, how good will he be? He's a rookie. We'll see. I mean, where are you good? How about this? I'll make this point to you. That the Dallas Cowboys roster that Dak has this year is arguably the worst roster Dak Prescott has played since he's been a Dallas Cowboys starter. You have Micah Parsons, who's overrated. Where is he late in the year, Micah Parsons? You could put that guy's face on a milk carton. How many times does he not show up, Michael Parsons? You could put him on. Hey, Ultra Cowboy. Really? Ask Arizona what you do to him. Run the ball at him. He's soft. He's a finesse player. That's not a dominant football player. Lane destroys that guy. It's like Velcro. You know what? When Parsons plays against Lane, the only reason he's a Dallas Cowboy, get this. Wait a minute. What a clown. 2 all-pro corners. One's out 6 to 8 weeks. What a clown. You don't have 2 corners starting September 1 against Cleveland. Where do you have 2 corners that are all pro? Where? Hey, Ultra Cowboy, you want to know misinformation, folks? That right there. Deron Bland's not starting against Cleveland. He's out 6 to 8. And by the way, why didn't you sign Stephon Gilmore back? That might have helped. Instead, he's in Minnesota. What a dumbass move by your ignorant general manager. Absolutely pathetic GM. Pathetic. The only thing that Jerry Jones has done is show you he's not Jimmy Johnson. Can't build. Hey, Jerry can build a 12-win team. Jimmy Johnson builds championship teams. Think about it. You know what? You know what's funny about Cowboy fans? You are like being in a fist fight with Eagle fans, and Eagle fans get to use both hands to beat your ass, and you've got one hand tied behind your back. That's what it's like being in a fight with the Eagles. I'll give you a comparison, too. Okay? Misinformation. Jerry builds championship teams. When did he ever do that? Cowboys started winning Super Bowls when they... Oh, okay. No, they started winning Super Bowls when they hired the coach who will be on here next week, Jimmy Johnson, to start the NFL season. That's when they were starting to win. Jimmy Johnson did more in 5 years than Tom Landry did in 30. How you doing? How you doing? 5 years. And you got, get this. You think, how about this? Ultra Cowboy fan. Hey, Eagle fans. How many people in here think Micah Parsons is as good as Charles Haley? How many people think he's as good as Charles Haley? How many people? Does anybody think Micah Parsons is better than Charles Haley, who is the owner of 5 rings? 5 Super Bowl rings. 3 in Dallas, 2 in San Francisco. Nobody on the planet thinks that Micah Parsons is even close to being a dude like a... Is he better even than like Jeffcoat? Maybe. He is without a doubt one of the absolute most overrated players in pro football. Like he's like, if Miles, get this, if Miles Sanders played in Dallas, Miles Sanders would be considered the greatest player in the game today. It's so fucked up talking about Cowboy fans. You guys are so irrelevant. I have no idea how people tune that game on to watch you. It's like watching the Lakers. There's 2 things that are in common with the 2 signature franchises in this country. Americans like train wrecks. The Lakers are a train wreck, and people cover them. The Cowboys have been a train wreck for 30 years, and they cover them. Why? Why? I like covering winners. I like covering the winners. I mean, what did he say? They cut Sileo on his day off. Let's see something here. Would you consider this guy one of your best coaches in the history of the Dallas Cowboys? Would you? Hey, Ultra Cowboy, let's see what he wrote. Hey, Dan, it was a great run. Swagger at Amazon. We're in here, too. How you doing? How you doing? You haven't been good since Bill Clinton was with Monica Lewinsky in the Oral Office. That's the last time you were good. When Monica Lewinsky was relevant. Wait a minute. Talking smack. This is reality. What in the world are you talking about? Look at this. Some people go like this, talking smack. How easy is it to talk shit on the Cowboys? Watch this. Losers. That can't be too hard. That can't be. Let's see. Let's see here. So, C24 says that that's not Jimmy's writing. So let's see here. This is my camp letter. You think those two handwritings are the same? Sil's got them. No? Think those handwritings are the same? Hey, C24. Everything you say on this program is funny. I like it. Oh, good, brother. I know you know, because Jimmy's been on here a ton of times. Cowboy fans, 30 years. Hey, wait a minute. Oh, my God, Xander, do me a favor. Is there a way we can edit this out of my show? I just realized something, folks. I just realized I spent about 10 minutes of my life that I'll never get back again. And I talked about the Cowboys, and they sucked me into it. I please, God, can I get 10 minutes of my life back? You know, I just want those 10 minutes back, because usually I talk about a team that matters, like the Eagles, and some of the other ball teams like Green Bay, Kansas City, Cincinnati, teams that win. Can I please have 10 minutes of my life back? Holy shit, what a waste of my life. Unbelievable. Stills, you got to remember, Cowboy fans are comparing Michael Parsons to Lawrence Taylor. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Hey, when I look at Michael Parsons, I see missing persons. Nobody compares that guy with any brains to Lawrence Taylor. And by the way, don't ever compare Aaron Donald to Reggie White. Those two dudes are just different. Seals, anyone who takes Parsons never saw Haley play. Parsons might be a better athlete. Haley was a better football player. And he actually showed up in big games, enormous games he played in. Oh, wait. This guy's now comparing him to Reggie White. And know this too, guys. Remember something. Today's game, they throw the ball 40 times a game. When Reggie and LT played, they threw the ball 22 times a game. Double the chances. Double the chances and opportunities to get to the quarterback today. That's why you see high sack totals. Let me say this to you. That guy, Bryce Huff, playing in Lawrence Taylor's day, he'd have 4 sacks at minimum. No, at maximum, he'd have 4 sacks. You didn't get the opportunity back in the day. It's a different league. They throw the ball all over the yard now. Reggie White played in today's NFL. He'd have 40 sacks in a year. You know that year? What was it, guys? The year Reggie played where he had 12 games and he had 22 sacks? Hey, you put that guy in today's NFL, he had 50 sacks that year. Says you got to remember that these are the same guys who listen to Mark Holmes. It's delusional takes. It's completely delusional. The Cowboys have not been relevant, honestly, since MySpace. I mean, since MySpace. That's the last time. And their football team's got a 5-win roster, right? Did you see they cut 20 guys? They got 20 guys and kept nobodies. I don't think the Dalvin Cook deal's that bad. I like Dalvin Cook. Okay? I like Dalvin Cook. I do. So you think we don't win the division? The Cowboys only 5. Unproven Commanders winning the division. The team is even worse than us. Dude, I got the Commanders. Pipe down. You might be right. I don't believe it. I don't believe your defense is that good. I don't. I want to stop talking about the Dallas Kardashians. Okay? Let's stop talking about the Dallas Kardashians. That's who the Dallas Cowboys are. The Dallas Kardashians. You got punked by Jordan Love. I mean, that dude bent you over, and you said thank you in a playoff game. Hey, Cowboy fans, that young Packer team bent you over. You said thank you. I'll take another. Okay. Whoa. You couldn't sit down for 3 weeks after that game. You couldn't sit down. Ultra Cowboy, you couldn't sit down for 3 weeks because that bitch hurt so bad. Oh, my God. You were walking like you were Frankenstein. Ugh, damn. All right, let me get into Elf Roseman. Oh, Howie. Hey, you Texas guys, man. Pretty delusional. Think that football team is good. CeeDee Lamb, I'm a warrior. I'm ready to go battle. Can you imagine you putting A.J. Brown in a slot? He'd have 200 catches. Hey, Ultra Cowboy, if you put A.J. Brown in the slot going against safeties like your guy is, they're overrated stats. That guy's not a top 5 wideout, CeeDee Lamb. What big-time wide receiver plays out of the slot? Tell me. Does Tyreek Hill? No. Does Jefferson? No. Does Devontae Adams? No. Does DK Metcalf? No. He's the only dude that plays in that slot that has numbers. Okay? Cooper Kupp does. You're right. Kupp does. He's a slot. He's a slot. By the way, you couldn't put Cooper Kupp on the numbers. Cooper Kupp got those. Do you think it's by coincidence that Cooper Kupp was an average football player before Matthew Stafford showed up? And once they got the ball to him in a slot, he goes against corners. I mean, he goes against safeties. Yeah, CeeDee Lamb chops. Dude, you couldn't put CeeDee Lamb and do it. You could never. I could put A.J. Brown in the slot, and he'd have better numbers. I could take CeeDee Lamb, put him on the numbers, he'd have worse numbers. That's a fact. Look at Swansky. This is true. Highest paid. Can I tell you what the slot receiver is the equivalent to? The right offensive tackle. He's like the right OT. And you're paying him huge money. Now, again, I take Lane out of that because Lane's a great player. Lane's probably the best right tackle I've seen in my lifetime. Okay? I mean, you put AJ in that slot. Here, I'd say this: 1,900 yards, 160 catches. Remember something? He's got to share the wealth with the other guy who gets 100 yards or 100 catches and 1,000 yards. He's got to share the wealth with that dude. Okay? Let's see here. Wait until Devontae Smith gets in the slot this year. He'll show the difference. Yeah, I agree with that, Wilf. Hey, W. Farrell, I agree. Hey, Devontae in that slot running those pass routes versus those safeties, he'll kill them. He'll kill them. Dude, you have nothing on that football team except, I'll give you this. Parsons is a better pass rusher than anything the Eagles have. There is no doubt about it. Who's a better old lineman right now than Jordan Mailata on your team? Zach Martin? No, thank you. I'll take Landon Dickerson over him. Who do you have? The two tackles with the Eagles. Here, I wrote this down too. Here are the big Tyler Smith. I'll take Jordan Mailata. There's more upside with him. I'll take Jordan Mailata. I'll take Mailata over Smith. Yeah, he's a better athlete. He's a better athlete. And I happen to think Smith's a good player. Jordan Mailata has been rated. Here are the old lines. Here are the top 5 offensive lines in pro football. Detroit, the Colts. I like that Damon kid and that Smith kid that they have at the 2 tackle positions. I think Indianapolis has some really good offensive tackles. I think the Colts are second. Eagles are third. Cleveland is 4. Atlanta's 5. Cowboys are nowhere in the top 10. Nowhere. Nowhere in the top 10. 3 years ago, you were. Cowboys don't have a top offensive line. Your guy, Mozzie Smith, sucks dick. And your linebackers are kind of good. And now you've lost Deron Bland. And now you're bringing a guy back off of an MCL injury from a year ago to jump into that corner spot. And he's going to be 100% healthy. The Cowboys are going to win 5 games. And your number 1 pick of a year ago is a bust. Let me talk about a football team that's closer. Holy shit, maybe what I should do is I should start talking Cowboys right away so that everybody understands where I'm coming from, that me spending all the time that I do on the Eagles shows you that I'm more pissed off that they're so close, whereas the Cowboys are eons away from reality. They're like eons away from reality. Hey, there's a better chance that the Atlanta Falcons win the Super Bowl this year than the Cowboys. There's a better chance that the Falcons win. There's a better chance that the Falcons will host home field than the Cowboys. There's a way better chance of Atlanta. They're in a shittier division, and they have one of the worst schedules on the planet. Justin goes, come on, bro. Really? Have you seen Atlanta's schedule outside of the first 3 games? They're in the NFC South, the worst division in football. They could easily win 12, 13 ball games in a shitty division with the worst schedule in the league. Dude, you could say whatever you want about Cousins. He wins and he puts enormous numbers up. And they should have won that division, but they had that stupid-ass Desmond Ridder last year. And by the way, the Atlanta Falcons had the 5th best O-line that Bijan Robinson's now running behind. Then if the Cowboys win more games, you need to manscape. Hey, I'll tell you what, Ultra Cowboy. Look, Manscaped, Mark Holmes. Mark Holmes doesn't have a cannoli. Okay? He doesn't have a cannoli. He's a unit. He had his nuts chopped off, what, 28 years ago after they fired Jimmy? The Cowboys have been neutered like a cat for the last 28 years. You guys are eunuchs. Cowboys have no balls. It's like one of them bull rider guys. You know how they tie their nuts up? That's what the Cowboy fan is. He's had his nuts tied up for 28 years. I mean, hey, Eagle fans are probably going like this. Damn, Sills. Okay. Well, you think I just pick on you? Hey, what do you think? I just pick on you? Hit the like button. Hey, between missing Parsons and Mozzie Smith, yeah, you know what they're going to do on the highways? They're going to have a silver alert. Have you seen this guy? Please call Jera. I haven't seen missing Parsons or Lazy Smith. I thought he was somewhere near Denton, Texas. We last saw him in the Panhandle, right near Oklahoma. Says you can't call him that. It's not PC. I don't give a shit about being publicly correct. Hey, are you crazy? That's not what this thing is. Yeah, you know what? Hey, dear Dallas Cowboy fans, this is the Texas Rangers. We're out publicly right now on Highway 45 on our way down to Austin. We're looking for missing Parsons and Lazy Smith. If you find them, can you please call one of our Ranger posts and let the Cowboys know that we have found these men? They have been missing for 18 months. Politically correct? That too. All right. Enough of that. And I have no idea what that is. Back to regular programming. Okay? Jordan Davis clears Lazy. Hey, Jordan Davis is Jerome Brown next to Lazy Smith. Holy cow. Let's get to Howie. So I listened to this stuff yesterday by Elf Roseman. So you see Isaac Seumalo went down with a pectoral injury. He's out for the year then. He's out for the year. No, not good. Okay? CZ goes, I lost a lung. Hey, that's okay. Hey, CZ, the Cowboys lost their balls 28 years ago. Jared cut him. This is what Jared does to his fans every year. Hey, if you're a Cowboy fan, you're used to this, right? Hey, Ultra Cowboy, you're used to this as a fan of the Cowboys, right? You're used to that. It's time for the snipping. What's that mean? Well, it's postseason time. Oh, on to me. I apologize. If anyone got their feelings hurt, Cowboy fan. Hey, Cowboy fans, I'm glad that you surrendered. I'm really glad that you surrendered that because you know you have no comeback. It's the only organization in football. The Eagles have a comeback with me. Hey, Sills, we went to a Super Bowl 2 years ago. And we've won how many games in the last 3? I mean, they're good. They're actually good. Well, Sills, wait a minute. We won 36 games in the last 3 years. Yeah, and you're 0-3 in playoff play. Okay, yeah, sure. Yeah. Okay. Um, okay. Hey, Xander, can you call this guy Cameron, please? Let me. I want to do my show in peace here, Cameron. So I'm gonna send it to you, Xander. Ugh, here we go. Do you think the Jets would trade Quinyon Williams? No, I do not. They're in a battle right now, I think, to win the AFC East. No, I don't. There. We just sent it. Okay. So yeah, no. Um, let's see here. Let me guys, I apologize here for a second here. Let's see. I may have to take a timeout. I didn't know this was going to be an absolute insane thing here for these guys to get this thing done here. Xander, I just sent you his cell phone. Please call him. Thank you. Okay. All right, guys. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I didn't want to end and take a timeout here, but we will, so that I can call and get this thing going here for him to have Mario Cristobal at 3:30. Do me a favor. Let's see here. Okay, hang on. Let's just do this here. I'm going to do it live. Xander says do it live. Okay. We're going to do this live. Okay. Let's continue. Let's get to Howie. Okay? Let's get to Howie. This thing's turning into a train wreck here on me here. Okay. Let's get to Howie here. How many people believe that this roster, you're more encouraged with the roster moving forward right now than you were prior to going into camp? How many people believe this? Are you in a better place? Okay? Are you in a better place? C24 says you're winning the Super Bowl. Mr. Perez says we're good. Me, Little Strawberry. Sean says he's in a better place too. We are definitely better. Okay. How about this? Marcus, I'm not going to criticize this because I'm going to tell you why. I'm not going to challenge anybody here because you feel better about the young players that they've added. And you're giving that the benefit of the doubt. Is that where you guys are going? The new faces and the new coordinators. You guys are giving that the benefit that it's going to click right away. Right? And how about this? Cheese. How about this dynamic? Hey, Sills, the NFC's really not that deep. It's not really that deep over there. Who are the top quarterbacks in the NFC that the Eagles are going to have to play against? Brock Purdy? Dak? Cousins? Who else? Stafford? Who are the Eagles going to have to play against that are in the NFC that make you kind of go, well, who else? We don't really know what Caleb Williams looks like, right? So you're being optimistic. Okay. Listen, here on August 28th, I can't, I'm not going to challenge that. Stafford and Love, that's it. Jordan Love in Green Bay. Jordan Love in Green Bay. Guys, please hit the like button. Let's listen to Howie here now. Twiz goes, no one. Okay. Maybe that's why Twiz is looking at the defense and going, I don't care about the defense. They could be in the 20s and we're still going to win 12 games. Is that where you are? You think you guys can be in the 20s, between 15 and 20, and still win 12 games, right? Well, you sucked last year and you won 11. So you do have a history of it, right? Who can score on us? Anybody can score on you. Anybody in the NFL could score on that defense. That defense is not good. Sills, we were in 30 and won 11. So besides Love and Stafford and maybe Cousin, that's about it. Rakeem, I like your thinking here. Still, I'm not sold on the edge rushers. I'm not sold on the entire unit. But that's okay. I think for what we're talking here. I don't like the defense. No rush, no pass. Not sure about stopping the run. Trash can linebackers, health, safeties, corners. KC, all of that is true. Okay? All of that is true. Let's see here. BS, never a doubt. How could you never have a doubt when your defense was 31st last year and you got the same corners coming back and you got a guy that played at Toledo and he's not even playing playing corner? I mean, doesn't that bug you at all that Quinyon Mitchell's not even playing corner? He's not opening the season at corner? Sills, I'm getting prepared for several 35-31 games this year. I think that's where you're going to be. Hopefully, we're on the 35 side more often. I think if they run the ball, they'll be on that side. Let's listen to Howie here. By the way, Mario Cristobal, we're hoping will be with us at 3:30 Eastern time, so we look forward to that. All right. Here's Howie talking yesterday, and I had a chance to go back and listen to him. Here were my takeaways. He was asked a question about Dotson and the acquisition of Dotson. And he said, we liked the player. He was one of the 30 dudes during the draft process that they brought in, and they liked him. They had a chance to interview him. They had a chance to meet with him. They liked the player. And so they had a brief history with him, and they liked him. My problem, though, comes down to this. Why in the world would a team in a division trade a guy in the division? It's not like Washington, and how we even address it is trying to help you get better. What's the problem here? What happened with Dotson that you would do something like that? And always, for me even, trading inside the division is kind of iffy, and it's kind of sketchy when you trade somebody inside a division like that. Okay? Kind of iffy. He was asked the question about Bradbury. There is no doubt that this is a Vic Fangio move. Okay? This is a Vic Fangio move. He's a pretty good football player. He's an insurance policy at corner and safety. And they're comfortable paying $11 million to him. And if there's an injury at safety, or there's an injury at corner, it's a long season. That's how they're looking at this and keeping him on the team. You know what? Most teams don't do this. This is pretty ballsy of them to do this. They're paying $11 million for someone in case of emergency. Usually when you pay people like this and you pay them that kind of money, you're playing them. So Bradbury, again, I mean, guy had 1,500 snaps last year. I don't think they wanted to move off him. I told you this. I thought he would have got cut that first week that he was eligible to get cut, like in April. And when he didn't, I said, this guy's making the team. They're not cutting him. And when he went to camp, I knew they weren't cutting him. That 90-man roster, man, you're not wasting roster spots. And you could have only whacked the guy and had to hit $4 million on your cap. I tell you what, see this comment right here? See this comment? Trey Trashberry, you won't be talking that if you get injured at corner. Or how about this? If CJ gets injured again, you're going to want bodies back there. You're going to want competent bodies. I'll tell you this. Don't be shocked if Bradbury has a bounce-back year in Philly with Fangio. That style of defense they played in 22, he was an all-pro. He was all-pro. 2 years ago, in that style of defense with Gannon, he was an all-pro. Last year when they started pressing, dude, that guy's not a press corner. Neither is Slay. Slay was traded from Detroit because he's not a press corner. Hey, you can say whatever you want, DRC. Bradbury was an all-pro 2 years ago. Okay? He was cooked in 22 and he made the all-pro team. Oh, okay. Sure. I guess. The question is, how was it that Desai made him look so bad? Desai was 10-2 when he got fired. It was Patricia that made him look worse. Made the whole defense look worse, including Reddick. Including Jordan. Matt Patricia cost Jalen Carter the Rookie of the Year award. Sills, he was all pro. The D-line had 100 sacks. RC3, that played into it, absolutely. So what makes you think, no matter how much you guys think you've improved in your secondary? Here, let me ask, let's before I move on to Howie, in more Howie here, let me ask you this. Do you guys think you improved in your cornerback position? In your defensive backfield, do you think you've improved? Do you think you've improved the defense in the defensive backfield? Do you think you've improved? John says no. Yeah. Surgical goes yes. No way. Yes, we got younger and better. Balance. Absolutely. If you don't, you're wrong, says John. Okay. So let me ask you something. Somebody just brought up a phenomenal take. So if James Bradbury and Darius Slay look like all pro and all Pro Bowl players when you had 70 sacks, has your pass rush improved? You don't get pass rushing, you're going to look like 23. Has your pass rush improved enough to where your corners are going to look good this year like they did in 22? Then how the fuck can you sit here and tell me you've improved your corner play when you haven't improved your pass rush? Aren't you going to get the same result? And if you guys are telling me that the 22 secondary was a result of the massive pressure and hits on the quarterback, have you improved your pass rush? The answer is no. How in the world are you better in the secondary? You don't have better cover corners. You don't play cover corner. You play two-eye safety and zone defense. You don't have that style of defense. How are you better corners? You can't. You're not tying it up. When you play that, get this. Again, you just got through telling me, Sills, they had 100 sacks in 22. Anybody could look good. Okay. You were second in pass defense. True. Have you improved your pass rush to make that same formula work like you did in 22? The answer is no. How are you better? Especially when you're playing two high safety. What are we talking about here? You're confusing it. They just signed 14 new players. So you think the communication level inside of 4 weeks of camp, Seals, the entire defense is way faster. I asked you a question. Did you improve your pass rush to help your secondary like you had in 22? You had 4 guys with double-digit sacks. You got 4 guys on this team that's going to have four double-digit sacks? Name them. Carter? Say Huff. Who else? Martin, you didn't have 4 guys that had double-digit sacks? Reddick? Sweat? Hardgrave? And Graham. This guy's trying to tell me, no, we didn't. Perez, yes, you did. I think Nolan Smith has 1 big sack. Nolan Smith, what? Mike, Nolan Smith, what? You think Milton's getting 10 sacks? White 10-plus sacks incoming. And which he's never done in his career, but he's doing it in Philly. Sweat can do it? Maybe. 8 to 10? I wouldn't think that's out of the realm of possibility. Let's see here. Let's move on. They like the way Bradbury works. Whatever, dude. Keeping him in case somebody gets injured in catastrophic injuries. And Vic Fangio wants to keep the guy because he doesn't trust the young players yet. That's an old school coordinator's mentality. Not playing the young guys. And get this, not playing the young guys and trying to tell the old guys what to do. And that's why Xavier Howard, Jalen Ramsey hated Vic Fangio last year in Miami. That's a common thing. Vic connects better with younger players because he can tell them, especially since you've not been schooled in any way. You're not going to tell Jalen Ramsey what to do, even if you're Vic Fangio. The guy won a Super Bowl with the Rams. The guy's one of the highest paid corners in the league. He's been numerous times on an all-pro team, Jalen Ramsey. What would Vic Fangio know about that guy playing zone defense? Jalen Ramsey doesn't want to play zone defense. He's a press corner. Not listening to Vic Fangio. Harder to coach guys like that. I'm not saying he's right. I think your coach is hired to do a job, and you're hired to do a job, and that's play for that guy. And I think you got to do everything in your power, albeit not putting bad tape up. Everything in the realm of the guardrails to do everything your coach is telling you. I think you do all that. Look at the Eagles last year. They were listening to Brian Johnson and Sirianni staying in those guardrails. Cost them a season. Okay? Yeah, I don't give a shit what you think about Ramsey. You could say Ramsey's overrated or not. He's got a Super Bowl ring and one of the highest paid corners in the league. Whatever. You can throw shade on anybody you want. The guy's got the hardware and he's got the resume to go, well, you're wrong. Sills, the fact is we do not have the players that fit Vic's scheme. Playing a 5-man front makes the linebackers even weaker because of the weak zone in the middle. The safety will need to cover for linebacker, so the cornerbacks are on an island and play 8 to 10 off. That's exactly correct. And know this too, Bob, when you do that, that means that Reed Blankenship has got to be on the field. Okay? He can't be off the field. And people are like, wait till Sidney gets back. That's week 10, 12. Season's over if you're not playing well on defense by then. Your season's over. Denard Wilson not coaching DBs affects their play. How about this? That's a really great take by this guy here. How do you think the defensive backs have played since Wilson's not been a DB coach in Philly? I'll tell you what, man. If that Tennessee team looks better on defense, and after what Baltimore had last year in the secondary with him coaching that secondary, and if Philly has another shitty secondary year where they're hanging down between 28 and 30, you're going to question that firing and not elevating Denard Wilson as your DC. Because that guy is showing success. They went to the AFC title game last year with him as the defensive backfield coach, which elevated him to get a job in Tennessee as a DC. You let that guy run out the building. Let me tell you what the coaches that you've let walk out the building. You've let Jonathan Gannon walk out the building. He's a head coach now. Looks like Arizona. I'm not saying they're going to be world beaters in the NFC West, but I'll tell you what, they look like they're improving. And would it shock anybody if Jonathan Gannon had the team, the Colts, with Anthony Richardson in the divisional round of the playoffs? No. Those are three pretty good coaches you let walk out the building, and you had a shit show last year in coaches that you had in the building. Think about that. The Eagles had three quality coaches in the building. Let them walk out the building. Hey, two of them were head coaching jobs. You can't really stop that. You could have stopped that Denard Wilson thing. You could have stopped that. What was the problem? He probably had different ideas. He probably was talking about a whole different type of scheme. We need some new players. He probably didn't want to play that too high safety. And Howie and them went, well, that's not how I – get this. Howie tells you here, and I'm going to get to it. Howie tells you here, plain and simple, how he builds this team. Okay, let me go on. He says the roster's incomplete. Right now, they're looking for backups. Eagle Podcast, you got good takes. Get this. Here's Howie's take. Draft picks are special to the organization. There's, when you draft a guy and you evaluate a guy, they're special to the organization. What? Whether you're drafted or not has no bearing on whether or not you're good. If you're not good, if you're drafted in the 7th round or you're drafted in the 3rd round, my God almighty, Tom Brady would have never played in Philadelphia. He would never have played in Philly for Howie with that mentality. Never have played. Howie would have went out and traded for a quarterback and not elevated Brady from the 6th round. No chance would he have done that. No chance. We're looking at this as a 70-man roster. He also says this. He said it was a huge priority when it came to building and getting volume of players back for the secondary. And once again, there's a difference in comments here. He wanted to have as many people as he possibly could for the secondary not to fall into the issues that he had a year ago. Whether they're good or not still has to be resolved. But he's put bodies there. So as a GM, that's a good answer. Hey, I addressed it. We needed a volume of players back there because we were not going to go into another season limited in the secondary. That's an address. Now, to sit here for me and go, oh, they're good, I'm like, I don't know. August 28th, most of them have never played. And the ones that have been limited. Have been limited. He says this about this too. He listens to his scouts and coaches. He makes the final call, though. Man. What would Parcells always say? Hey, Bob, what did Parcells always say? Bill Parcells said this, right? Man, you're going to ask me to, build a team. You should at least let me go shopping for the groceries. Head coach has very little say in what personnel is on that team on both sides of the ball. Now, I think that's changed with Vic. And by the way, I'll tell you what, Vic having 28 players over there on that side of the ball just tells you exactly what's going on money-wise. There's a reason you have 28 players on defense. You know why? You have more question marks on defense. And you have more money on offense. That's why it's unbalanced like that. All your high-powered money. Howie has done this not, again, you add $10 million to your offense and a running back. Why? Was running back an issue a year ago? I didn't think it was. Why didn't you just give more money to Andre Swift? You offered him $6 million. Well, that wasn't going to be cutting it. Maybe you could have got him at $7 million instead of $9 million. And for the record, you got guys that had never produced that before in their entire careers. That was DeAndre Swift's greatest career, year he ever had. Year before that, it was Miles Sanders. Why didn't you just get another good player? Why Barkley? I mean, adding more money to the offense and taking more money away from the defense. That's why you drafted double at corner. You didn't want to pay for a corner. So you go into the draft and have a corner. And he even says it. Hey, we're unbalanced right now. He says it himself. They're unbalanced right now. Well, that's his call. He did that. All the money. And he says it, rightfully so. He's not wrong there. Is now on the offense. Get this. What makes it even crazier about Reddick has produced. Reddick gave you 30 sacks in 2 years. And you didn't want to pay him. Why? Well, because you're paying a ton of money on the other side. Think about what you did. You give a brand new contract extension to AJ and Devontae, and you signed a $10 million back, and you wouldn't sign an edge rusher who's giving you 30 sacks in 2 years. Why? And then when you thought you were like upgrading the team, all you did was move Reddick's money to Huff. You didn't really add to the team. That's what you call an imbalanced salary cap and an unbalanced roster. That's why when you guys keep going, hey, Sills, you really think the Rams have a better roster? Yeah, because it's more balanced on both sides and special teams. And they got better coaching. All this is so simple. I don't know why they complicate it. They need to utilize this O-line, run the ball, be physical. Absolutely. Go get a linebacker like Queen instead of Barkley. Dude, that makes more than I appreciate the super chat, Surgical. You're so right. Surgical, what made more sense? The Xavier McKinney deal, that 17-8 Green Bay gave him, that's a little pricey for me. It's a little pricey, and New York let him walk out the room. Get this. You know what New York did? They let a really good football player go. Then they turned around and let another really good football player go on the other side of the ball in Barkley. Why? Because they're rebuilding. They're looking to balance the cap. The New York Giants stink. They're not going to win any games. But you know what they're going to start doing? They're going to balance the cap, and they're going to start building on both sides of the ball. They went out and got Brian Burns. That's a big deal. Their front four is good. Kayvon Thibodeau, the guy in the middle. Now you had Brian Burns. It's the best defensive line in the NFC East. That kid Burns is a great player. He's 26. Okay? Thibodeau's coming on. He's a good-looking player from Oregon. And you got the kid in the middle who's the all-pro. They're good. They're good. We get it, Sills. You don't believe in the Eagle. I didn't say that. I don't believe in your defense. Marcus, get it right. Get it right. I didn't say that. I don't believe in the defense yet. Got to prove it to us, don't you? When does it get to a point in Philadelphia where you give people the benefit of the doubt for sucking? When in the world is that? I thought in a city like that, you had to earn your stripes by going to work. How are you some of the shit, man, it blows my mind. I thought from an outsider that you were tougher on that stuff. You're not. You're not. I thought you had to earn it. You don't have to earn it. All right, I'm going to take a timeout because we're going to get Mario Cristobal. Big college football games this weekend. One of the big-time head coaches in college football is going to join us. Please hit the like button. It's Howie's Gators versus the Hurricanes. Live from Gainesville on Saturday. We will talk to the head football coach, Mario Cristobal. That will be at the bottom of the hour. We will have Philly 500, by the way, at 4:30. He'll join us. Please hit the like button. Hey, by the way, Xander, where are we in the like button right now? Where are we right now? Guys, we're great, man. I appreciate it. Okay? Really great stuff. Gators own to you? Okay. 151. Guys, please hit that like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.